A Southern California man has been arrested and is facing charges after threatening the Boston Globe, and these threats were very specific. Robert D. Chain from Encino, California is the man who made these threats, and he made the threats through a number of calls to the Boston Globe. He has been charged with one count of making threatening communications in interstate commerce. It's a fancy way of saying he was making threatening phone calls. Now, Chain allegedly made at least 14 threatening phone calls to the Boston Globe between August 10th and the 22nd. Chain is accused of making several threatening phone calls to the Globe beginning almost immediately after the paper announced on August 10th that it was calling on newspapers across the country to publish editorials the following week standing up to Trump for referring to the press as fake news and enemies of the people. So Robert Chain happens to be a huge Trump supporter, and he was not happy about the fact that the Boston Globe was calling for this campaign to kind of stand up to Trump and the accusations that he's made against the media. Chain made a call to the Globe's newsroom in which he said, quote, "You're the enemy of the people and we're going to kill every effing one of you. Hey, why don't you call the F? Why don't you call Robert Mueller? Maybe he can get you out, buddy. I'm going to shoot you in the effing head later today at 4 o'clock. So that's a specific threat. You cannot make specific threats. For all of you out there who think that the First Amendment protects any and all speech and everything should be allowed, specific threats inciting violence not protected by the First Amendment, okay? Period. And that's what he did here, which is why he's facing charges.
So he could get 5 years, I guess, on the outside and
5 years and possibly a $250,000 fine, but that's the maximum punishment.
Right, so he likely won't get that, but it is an insight into how these people get whipped up into such a lather that they take matters in their own hands. This is just a threat, but if you were to follow, we've seen this kind of violence follow through, at all of these rallies and beyond. I guess I would say that the additional humiliation that this guy's going to feel. I mean, he could feel in his workplace. I don't know what the guy does. I don't know what he does.
So I looked into him a little bit. He's in his 60s, 68 years old. He could be retired. His wife is an attorney in California, and she is, she's still a licensed attorney. Yeah. It's unclear whether or not she plans on representing him.
But the public shame potentially that's associated with this might be an additional curb on this kind of thing. I'm sorry, go ahead. What else about him?
No, I mean, public shame, sure. But like people think California, yes, California is a blue state, but this is Encino. This is very close
to here,
like where we are at this very moment. And they're among us. There's these monsters among us. And this is a guy who has at least 2 firearms. He just recently purchased one. And we know this because as soon as the story broke, reporters started looking into what kind of weaponry he has. And it's scary to know that these people exist and they think it's okay to make these very specific threats against the media. If you believe in democracy, if you believe in our Constitution, then you should be against the president, calling the media enemy of the people.
Well, you should be for a free press, most certainly,
Yes.
and you shouldn't be calling in threats to that press. Understanding even that there are press biases occasionally, and maybe in every case you could argue, depending. Look, these are op-ed pieces the Boston Globe is running, so they're on a page, digital or literal, that is for opinion. So it's set out apart. It's not some kind of conspiracy that's being done in the dark. I find the attack on journalists worldwide to be of tremendous concern. We see environmental journalists killed in Central and South America in record numbers. And so the attack on journalists and newsrooms around the country is of great concern to us. And it should really be of concern to all of you.
I mean, everyone was sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Everyone was crying and whining about Alex Jones. Oh, it's free speech. It's free speech. No. Alex Jones engages in speech that A, is not actually protected by the government, okay? And B, doesn't need to be protected by any private corporation or company if they decide they want to get rid of him. We've been over this, okay? But there's no outcry over the real First Amendment violations that are taking place right now under the Trump administration.
Well, and Alex Jones's news, like in the quote unquote news, like in the same way that Trump's tweets fuel and enable this kind of material violence, right? This is actually material violence because it was a very specific threat that was waged against the Boston Globe. And it comes on the heels, not just a year ago, but a couple months ago, where the Capitol Gazette was attacked and 5 people were killed. And so this is a real threat to people in the newsroom. And like we were saying, that actually was my first thought when I found out that he was from Encino, that, wow, it's here. And I'm not surprised that people in California, especially Southern California, are right-wing nuts, because that's actually a small hidden secret that most folks don't know about our state. But what did shock me was the fact that this was so specific, and it was literally verbatim what Trump had said.
Right, okay, so I'm gonna give you one other statement, actually a couple other statements. In another call made on August 22nd, Chain was asked why he was calling. According to court documents, he responded, "Because you are the enemy of the people and I want you to go F yourself. As long as you keep attacking the president, the duly elected president of the United States, in the continuation of your treasonous and seditious acts, I will continue to threats, harass, and annoy the Boston Globe." So I'm really curious to see what he had to say about Obama.
I literally thought that.
So did he think that someone or a news organization was treasonous for criticizing Obama? Probably not.
Well, and with outrageous claims, again, as we've said, like birthism, and also specious claims of him attached to Islam, right? Like, I'm sure that wasn't something he was really concerned about and called in newsrooms to try to shoot them up.
You know, you talk about California. What's happening is, even in the bluish parts of California, like the LA metro area, which is where Encino is, you end up with anger. And it can also be fueled by the fact that you're surrounded by all these people who are libs, right? And liberal media, and you begin to buy your own BS about that. And I think that anger can drive the crazies, the fringe, and there are enough of them that it's really dangerous to this point where threats are made and actions taken. I don't view this guy as just some loudmouth. No. He's scary, and there are more like him out there.
Right, and actually, Breitbart started in Brentwood, California. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, there's a lot of right-wing nut jobs in Southern California. There's Prager University, Ann Coulter moved here, Tommy Lauren moved here, Ben Shapiro lives here. Like, it's just one list, like one long list of crazy people who love to, you know, criticize California, but went out of their way to move here and live here. Never miss another TYT video by ringing the bell below. You'll get notified whenever we publish something new. And don't forget to join TYT and download the TYT Plus app today. Download the TYT Plus app on your phone or head over to tyt.com/join.